Hola estudiantes, in this video we're going to talk about stem changing verbs. And one thing that I wanted to point out to you right away is that I used a triangle when I was making this sign for stem changing verbs, because I often abbreviate a stem changing verb to indicate that it's a stem changer with a triangle, because a triangle in math is the symbol for change. So since it's a stem changing verb, that's how I normally abbreviate that. Alright, so let's talk about stem changing verbs. What's a stem changing verb? Well, it's a verb that changes in the stem, and I think that one thing that we should make sure that we know is that although it does change in the stem, which is the part of the verb that's not the ending, so not the AR, ER, or IR, we're still going to have our normal AR, ER, and IR verb endings. So we need to make sure that we have those down in our notes. So we're still going to use regular AR, ER, and IR verb endings, and again, I still want you to write these down. Even if you know them, you've written them 100 times, we're going to write them again. Alright, so for AR verbs, we have o, as, a, amos, ice, and on, and especially if you did not have me for Spanish last year and you didn't learn the vosotros, make sure you get the ice, a with an accent, is. For ER verbs, we're going to use the same endings, o, ace, a, amos, ace, en. E with an accent is for the vosotros there. And then for IR verbs, it's going to be o, ace, a, imos, is, n, and is is I with an accent, s. So again, these are going to be really important. You're still going to have to know how to conjugate the ending of a verb, so make sure that you put that down in your notes. Alright, so let's talk about what we do with a stem changing verb. So, and the thing I think that is easiest is to just give you an example of how to conjugate a stem changing verb. So we're going to start with pensar, which is one of our stem changers for this unit. And as you can see, I've written in parentheses that I have E and then an arrow and IE. And what that means is that pensar is an E to IE stem changing verb. So when I talk about the stem, I'm talking about this part of the verb, okay, which is the part that's not the ending, okay? This we know is going to still be conjugated like normal, because that's what I just said. So it's still going to be o, as, a, amos, ice, on. Okay, but the thing that's going to be different about when I conjugate pensar is that this vowel, this E right here, is going to change to IE in certain forms. Okay, so let's talk about when do I change my vowel in a stem changer. Well, we change it in what's called the boot. The boot is just the forms that don't include the nosotros and vosotros forms. It's called the boot because it looks like a boot. Anyway, so I'm going to change my vowel inside these four forms, and in these two, I'm just going to conjugate it like regular. So let's see how we do that. Alright, so normally I would just get rid of my AR ending and add O. So normally it would be penso, but that's not it for a stem changer. For a stem changing verb, I'm going to have pienso, P-I-E-N-S-O. Sorry, my handwriting's not that great. Pienso, because I've changed the vowel from E to I-E. Alright, for the next one, I'm going to use, again, piensas. It's hard to do it with two markers. Piensas, again, I've changed the vowel from E to IE in the to form to mean you think. Then the ella usted, since I'm still inside the boot, I'm going to change it from E to IE. So piensa, for he or she or you formal think. Now, for this form, for the nosotros, I'm outside the boot, so that means that I'm just going to conjugate like normally. So just getting rid of my AR ending and making it pensamos. Outside the boot, we don't have any kind of change. Okay, the vosotros, same thing. I'm outside the boot, so I'm going to have it be pensáis, accent on that A. And then for the ellos, ellas, ustedes form, I'm back in the boot again, so it's going to again change from E to IE for piensan. So that's how I conjugate a stem changing verb. And just to kind of review the things that we talked about for conjugating this verb, there's a couple things for stem changers that we need to know. That it's a verb where the vowel changes in the stem. So that means that it does not, we don't have a change in the nosotros and vosotros forms. And a lot of times these are called boot verbs because of the way that the irregular forms are looking. It looks like a boot. All right, so let's do another example of another E to IE stem changer, another one from this unit. Okay, so here's the verb preferir. And for preferir, it's an E to IE stem changer. So if we look at our stem, okay, I've got this whole part. Basically, the word prefer in English makes up my stem for this verb. Okay, so now I'm running into the issue of that I have two E's that could change here. I have this one, the first one, and the second one. Okay, my IR I know I'm going to get rid of and then change it to O, ace, A, emos, es, hen. So what do I do? Because I've got two E's here. Well, the rule is that if there is more than one vowel that could change, you change the second to last vowel of the verb. So for this one, the vowel that's going to receive the stem change is the E that's in the middle of the word. So this E is going to change from E to IE. All right. So let's make our boot. When we have a stem changing verb, we want to include the boot. And then we're going to go ahead and conjugate it. All right, so the yo form, again, I'm going to keep everything the same except for I'm going to change this E to IE. So it's going to be P-R-E-F and then I-E-R-O for prefiero, to say I prefer. Okay, the to form is going to be prefieres. Again, I'm changing to IE and keeping my endings the same. Sorry, that's an ES. The LA usted form is prefiere. Again, changing from E to IE and keeping my same ending. Okay, the nosotros form, I'm outside the boot now, so it's going to be preferimos. P-R-E-F-E-R-I-M-O-S. Okay, the vosotros form is preferis. P-R-E-F-E-R-I-S. Again, no change to the stem there because I'm outside the boot. And then now here I'm back inside the boot, so it's going to be P-R-E-F and then I-E, oops, R-E-N for prefieren. Okay, so one thing that you need to make sure that you're remembering is when we've got a longer stem changing verb where we've got a consonant in the middle here, like preferir, this second R, a lot of people tend to forget that when they're conjugating their stem changing verbs. So you don't want to leave out this consonant. So you don't want it to be prefiero. You can't even say it in Spanish. You got to have the R there for prefiero, prefieres. Okay, you can't leave those letters out. Okay, so next we need to know what are the types of stem changing verbs that I have in Spanish. What ones are we going to use this year? Okay, there's 4 types that we're going to use. E to IE is the one that we've been talking about, like pensar and entender, which is to understand. Okay, we also have E to I, which we'll do in our next unit. And actually, we're just going to start conjugating all the stem changing verbs, but pedir and servir are examples. O to UE is another type, you know, from costar, which we'll talk about in a sec. And then U to UE, jugar is the only U to UE stem changing verb. Many of you have been conjugating this incorrectly up until this point, so you want to make sure that you're getting that down now. There's a couple other types of stem changing verbs, but we will not use those in this class. I mean, not in Spanish 1. Okay, so just to give you an idea, it's really easy once you know how to conjugate a stem changing verb like we've just done with E to IEs. You can conjugate any kind of stem changer. It's super easy. Let's take costar, for example, which is one of the verbs that we've had in this unit. Costar, as I just said, is an O to UE stem changer. So just like before, I'm going to change this vowel from O to UE inside the boot. Okay, so I've already drawn it up here for you. Okay, making my boot. Now, if I were to use these forms, which we said we won't for costar because it means to cost, but it's questo, cuestas, cuesta. You know that this is not costa, Okay, it's cuesta. If I asked how much something costs, it would be cuánto cuesta, not cuánto costa. Okay, costamos and costáis would be the nosotros and vosotros forms. Again, we don't use them because it's to cost, so we don't say we cost. And then cuestan would be they cost. So again, I can conjugate any kind of stem changing verb because they all follow the same pattern. You just have to know which ones are ODUE, which ones are E to I, which ones are E to IE, etc. So all of this is the information that you're going to need to know about stem changing verbs. Please just keep in mind that if you have any questions, you can go ahead and send me an email. Adios y hasta luego.